Turbo Beast here, doing another sub install today. This will be quick install as I am already about halfway through the process here, but this is a Scion XB and we are doing a sub and amp install under the passenger seat. First thing I did is unbolt the passenger seat. It takes a 14mm bolt. And then this is a great location. It's away from the factory heating vent. And that's a good spot to put this amp. And then I just cut a little slit around my power wire, my ground wire, RCAs, remote turn on wire, and speaker wire, all through that hole. Now, my RCAs don't run with the power wire. What I did is I ran the RCAs here through the hole and then up and over this hump, as you can see there, and it runs down along the side up here, and I'm going to go up so I can tap into the factory unit using a line out converter. Power and ground around here. I'll show you exactly how it goes. So there's the factory mount location. I just cleaned the paint off and then put the amp ground there, and then the power wire runs up and out there. Now these are little, kind of like nipples, and you just cut one of them off like I did here, and it exposes a hole. You run the power wire through that hole, and I just used the hanger to fish the wire through that hole out the bottom. When that time comes, I'm going to run this power wire from the zip tie along the top here down to the battery and then connect it to the power source here. Of course, I'll run an inline fuse when I get to that point. I haven't gotten that far yet. So that's the ground and the power. The remote and the RCAs that just ran together, like I said, they come out there for now until I take apart the dash. And then my speaker wire, which I ran through that same hole right there. I ran it up underneath the V-core, out the back here, right along this. I'll tuck it up underneath, and I haven't gone that far yet to tuck the wire actually underneath the seat, but I ran it there temporarily for now, where we're going to house this upside down but 10-inch kicker preloaded box. 600 watt peak, 300 watt RMS. It's a single voice coil. Yeah, should be good. It runs at 4 ohms. So I'm gonna get a little bit further and I'll check that. Okay. Another update here. Went ahead and hooked it up to the battery. Put the inline fuse there. And then just wrapped it right along. Put little anchors to hold the wire up high. And right through there. So the engine bay's done. All I have to do is reconnect the negative on the battery. Like I said, it came in through here. Put this panel back together. The ground and the power run right here. Right out that hole. And the amp all hooked up. And then the RC's over there. Now my next step here is to pull the dash apart, run the RCA and the remote turn on wire up into the stereo cavity to hook into the signal and the ignition so the amp will turn on with the car. I also ran the speaker wire like here. Got that all ran under the seat, right up there. A little 10-inch kicker sub. So this next segment, I'm going to go ahead and take apart this dash panel and show you from that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do to take the radio off, these climate control knobs just pop out, all 3 of them, and then these 2 have Phillips screwdrivers. That's all you need is a Phillips screwdriver. And then basically you get your hands up underneath here, and you start from the bottom. Just gently work it out. Okay, so once this just pops out, there's these two different clips. That's why we start from the bottom. Once this comes out, there's just 3 harnesses that you'll unplug right here. Just leave the climate controls where they are. This may come loose on you. It's really just held in with clips, so shouldn't make a difference. Now there's just 4 Phillips screws which pull the CD out, and we're keeping the factory unit here. We're just going to install a line out converter so that we are able to have signal through the amp. And basically the line out converter converts the speaker wire signal to an RCA low level signal that the amp reads, and that's all we need. Once you get the stereo out, go ahead and unplug these 4 harnesses, which will give us access to the wiring so that we can tap into the speaker wire output and the ignition for our amp. So what we're using is this pack OEM integration products. This is a line out converter, SNI-35. Basically it taps into the speaker wire as those wires above here, and then provides RC outputs for your amp. Okay, so I got this wired up. This is what I did. Now for your remote turn on, which is this wire, this basically needs to go to the ignition. And the ignition on this is this gray wire. So I just cut the wire, stripped it, and used a barrel or butt connector so I can keep that length on the wire all nice and crimped. And then for the signal for the back, I use the back speakers, which is this smaller harness. And the way this works, red is your right rear positive, white is your right rear negative, and then black is your left rear positive, and yellow is your your left rear negative. So same thing, just tap into them. I'm going to zip tie and tape this all up nice, and this will just all plug back into the factory unit. If you have any questions on this, be sure to just post a comment here below. I fished the wire up through the dash here from up underneath just using a hanger. And I'll push this back in here, and these will plug in here. RCA. Now the ground wires, these are grounds. In case you have a ground loop or a hum or a buzzing wires, typically you hook these up. These are subs. Bass amp, basically I have the low pass filter set, so we shouldn't have an issue. Plus the way I wired it, made sure everything was good, our connections. In the event we have that hum, that's where we'll hook those up. We'll just ground it, but at this point we don't need it. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just cap these off, put this dash back together, plug the harnesses back in the stereo, put the stereo back in, and kind of just a big reverse order of everything pulled apart. And basically, at this point, I can put the negative back on the battery, and let's start up and tune the amp. Okay, just about ready to button everything up. Got the dash back together. I did a quick test, and everything works great with that wire configuration. Got the amp all cleaned up, got the wire all up, looks all nice. I'll plug these harnesses back in, and I got the hood shut, the hood's good to go. That's about it. I'm going to do a final test here and show you how it's done. Alright, good to go. Everything sounds great. Got the seat bolted back in. Everything's buttoned up. Just time to clean up and call it a day. See if I can get that. So it's, I mean, the radio doesn't sound the best. More than likely, the customer may end up replacing the head unit. Typically with these Pioneer Scions, what happens is it has a bass roll off at higher volumes, and so you may lose your bass, but there's a lot of bass at lower volumes. It's a way that Scion and Toyota produce their stereos to protect their factory speakers, so they may replace the head unit for a better sound quality down the road. Other than that, if you have any questions, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. try to get back to you as soon as I can. This is for typically a 2004 to 2007 Scion XB. This is a 2006. Thanks for watching.